Hi folks, I'm going to go through some of the basics in Flash that you need to get started. This is not going to be absolutely everything that you need, but it's going to be a fair chunk. Okay, so first of all, I've started a brand new file in Flash. Remember, you picked the one that says ActionScript 3. My next step is I'm going to go and I'm going to modify my document, and I'm going to change my frames per second from 24, just right down here, 24 to 12. And you remember we had a discussion in class about how that makes it easier to work with animation. So I'm going to click OK. So I have one single layer right now. You always want to divide up everything into layers. I'm going to create myself a little fishy just for the heck of it. I'm going to use the brush tool, and I'm going to pull this out so this is actually double. There we go. So I'm going to use the brush tool. I can adjust my brush tool down here. I can pick a larger brush size if I want. You can always hover over. You get that key, the little hot tips there, always. So you know what stuff is called, and you know how to change your options down here. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and draw myself a little fishy, and then I'm going to animate this little guy as soon as I'm done. Sorry, you get to suffer through my horrible artwork again. I'm going to fill in my fishy with a paint bucket tool. Notice that this is a complete shape. It's all closed, just like in Illustrator. And I'm not going to go through Illustrator, even though that is something that we covered in class, because I just want to cover what's likely to be a problem for you guys. And that's Flash. That just tends to be how Flash goes. For my little fishy here, I'm also going to give him some little, jazz him up a little bit here. I'm also going to add a stroke around him. And the way you add a stroke, we talked about this in class, but the way you add a stroke is you get the ink bottle tool and you make sure you have a color for the stroke here. And then you just click just outside of the shape. There we go. He looks like a little, I don't know, kind of looks like a Mexican dress for some reason. It's very pretty. Okay, so our next step, now that we've created or imported our art, is we're going to select all of it. You remember, this is very important. Select all of it. We're going to go modify and convert to symbol. I'm going to name my symbol. You always want to make sure that you name your symbol. The only two types of symbols we're going to work with are graphic symbols and movie clip symbols. For simple animation, it does not matter which one you select. We'll get into movie clip symbols and what else they're capable of later on, but just for simple animation, graphic symbol is fine. Click OK, and you'll, depending on whether you're on the Properties panel or the Library panel, you will see some changes. The Properties panel will show you information about this symbol. The Library will show you the symbol itself. So now you remember that this is the original object, and this is an instance out here on the stage. The instance is just like, it's a copy of what's out there on the stage. I'm going to zoom out a little bit with the command minus, and I'm going to position my little fishy here off the stage so that he enters on the right side of the stage. I'm going to rename my layer, double clicking, there we go. Okay, so first I created my artwork, then I made it into a symbol, and you can see that blue outline. The third thing I need to do is figure out how long my little fishy will exist for. So 12 frames per second, we'll go ahead and we'll make him last for this much. I right click on that frame, I go to insert frame. That gives me all of this time that my little fishy will stay in existence. I'm dragging around the playhead now. The playhead is that pink box. And that'll become very important here in just a minute. Okay, so right now there's no animation possible because there's no tween applied. You have to have some kind of tween for animation to happen. So we're going to go ahead and create the animation, the motion tween rather. So symbols go with motion tweens, specifically symbols and motion tweens. They're friends. So I'm going to right click on this gray bar here, and I'm going to go to create motion tween. Don't worry about classic tweens. Don't mess with classic tweens. There's really no reason for you to. So I'm going to create my motion tween, and that's going to turn it blue. So this entire blue section here is a motion tween. I can adjust the length. I can make it longer, last for less time, whatever I want. I'm going to go back to frame 36 there. Sorry, that was my phone. You'd think I'd shut it off for a recording, huh? Okay, so Next, what I'm going to do is I'm going to animate my fish going from left to right. He's going to start on the left in frame 1, and he's going to end up on the right in frame 36. I already have my starting position set. Yeah, that's good enough. And then I'm going to move my playhead to the very end where I want him to end up, and move him across the stage. And this results in a little trail here, a little motion guide. And it also results in a little, I'm going to click off of the motion tween here so we can see it better. It also results in a little property keyframe. You see that little tiny diamond there. That diamond says that some property has been changed, okay? Specifically the position property. This first circle here says it is not only recording the position of the property, the rotation, scale, I mean all of those properties we talked about. It's also recording the fact that there's an object at all. That's why it's circled. It's a little bit more special than just the plain old diamond. But that diamond's pretty important too. So anytime you see one of those diamonds, you'll know that one of those properties has been changed. So Flash's job, and it's already finished its job, Flash's job is to figure out how to change the position from frame 1 to frame 1 to frame 36. So it goes through and it figures out for each of the other frames, and I'm scrubbing here, where that fish should be. That's called interpolation or tweening. Tweening is probably easier to say. So if I want to change this path at all, I can do a couple of things. First of all, if I want to make Mr. Fish zigzag just a little bit, I can move my playhead to the middle, and then I can move Mr. Fish, which results in a very sharp linear change there. I can also, because of how motion tweens work, I can also make sure I'm on my selection tool, and I can go to the motion guide here, and I can start pulling it out. It does the craziest thing. It arcs. And this is actually a pretty simple way to work. You can see I can make him kind of swim down a little bit and then suddenly jump up. Now he won't turn also because he's not being told to. At this point, oops, accidentally hit my outline. At this point, all he's doing is he's swimming straight down, then he suddenly bounces up like that. That's a motion tween. That is how you animate with a motion tween. Okay, I'm going to take up in the next movie. I'm going to continue this and show how to work with a shape tween. Now we haven't covered shape tweens yet, but I thought you might be interested. And I'll continue with this same exact file.